You know that feeling, right? That deep ache after you've really pushed
Oh,
yourself.
yeah.
Whether it's the satisfying burn from a tough workout or that iron stiffness after going way beyond your limits.
Mhm.
I definitely felt that after the Penghu 226 Ultra Ironman. Intense for sure.
That stiffness is your muscles basically letting you know they've been put through their paces. It's a familiar sign for anyone who challenges their body, really.
Exactly. And, well, that got me thinking a lot about recovery and specifically sports massage. After that race, I was definitely feeling the need for some serious relief.
Makes sense.
And I was just really curious about this specialized kind of body work. That's actually what led me to check out Muscle Saver Studio.
Ah, okay. So this deep dive is coming from a place of actual real-world experience then, which honestly often makes understanding something like this much more engaging.
Absolutely. And we really want to bring those insights directly to you. Think of this as, I guess, your shortcut to understanding what sports massage is all about.
Yeah.
It's not just about pampering or, simple relaxation. It's a really targeted approach. And it has potential benefits for pretty much anyone who moves their body, not just those elite athletes.
That's a key point.
So whether you're maybe prepping for your own physical challenge or you're just curious, we've got you covered no matter your technical background.
Yeah, our goal here is really to pull out the most important info and make it super clear for you. We're drawing on that recent visit to Muscle Savior, where we actually got to chat with a really seasoned sports massage professional.
Seasoned is right.
Yeah, this person has like 20 years of experience in the field, and they're also involved in training up the next generation of massage therapists through the International Sports Science Association, ISA.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole thing. The term sports massage itself.
Uh-huh.
It might bring up certain images, right? Like, is it massage during sports?
Yeah.
Like some kind of trackside pit crew for your muscles?
Yeah. That's a pretty common first thought, actually. But the sport in sports massage, it really refers more broadly to muscle movement. So any kind of physical activity, not just like organized games or big competitions. So the key takeaway right there is that sports massage isn't just for the pros. It's potentially for anyone who moves.
Okay, movement, not just sports. That
Yeah.
clicks. It makes a lot more sense that way. So where did this all start then? Was it always about recovering after some, grueling event?
Well, historically, yes, sports massage did have really strong ties to athletes. The initial focus was very much on enhancing performance and speeding up recovery time.
Right.
You can even look at examples like the Olympic Village, where massage has often been a standard part of the support system for those top competitors for ages.
So it's like part of the high-performance toolkit. Got it. But you mentioned it has a broader application now.
Exactly. While its roots are definitely in athletic support, the actual benefits of sports massage aren't limited just to athletes. Anyone dealing with muscle issues that are related to physical activity, whether that's intense training or even just the strains of everyday life, they can potentially benefit.
Okay, that's a really key point for the learner listening, right? It's not just for marathon runners or triathletes like me.
Definitely not.
Now, how does sports massage stack up against other types of massage we might be more familiar with, like, say, a relaxing oil massage or maybe a deep tissue session?
Yeah, there are definite distinctions. So relaxation massage often involves oil. It uses gentler, more superficial kinds of strokes. And the main goal is really comfort and stress reduction, just chilling out.
Okay.
Then you have deep tissue massage, sometimes called tissue massage, which that targets the deeper layers of muscle tissue. It's more about addressing chronic tension and those stubborn knots.
Right, so the focus shifts. It goes from overall relaxation to targeting specific muscle problems.
Right.
Where does sports massage kind of fit on that spectrum?
Well, sports massage can actually incorporate techniques from both of those, but its primary focus is really on muscles related to movement and addressing issues that come up from physical activity. The techniques are specifically tailored to the needs of the person and, their activity level.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting for me. The pain factor.
Ah, yes.
I think a lot of people, and I definitely include myself here, get a little nervous about sports massage because they hear it can be quite painful. Is that reputation deserved?
I'd say that's only half right. The perception of pain often comes because when muscles are really tight or imbalanced, even pretty light pressure can feel painful or tender.
Yeah, like when you have DOMS, that delayed onset muscle soreness. Ugh. Everything just hurts. Just existing feels like a workout sometimes.
Precisely. When muscles are in that state, that imbalance or fatigue, they can be hypersensitive. But, and this is important, the goal of sports massage isn't actually to inflict pain. The real aim is to identify and address the underlying source of that discomfort.
Okay, that's definitely reassuring to hear. Because honestly, during my session at Muscle Savior, I was a little apprehensive going in, but the therapist was great, always checking in, using that pain scale, 1 to 10.
That communication is absolutely crucial. It helps the therapist understand your tolerance level and make sure they're working within a range that's actually productive.
Productive.
Yeah, there's a big difference between productive discomfort, that feeling of working through tension, and counterproductive pain that just makes your muscles tense up even more defensively.
Right. I remember the instructor saying something like, pushing past a 6 or 7 on that pain scale can actually backfire. It leads to more guarding and less release in the end.
Exactly right. When pain gets too intense, your body's natural reaction is just to protect itself, which can completely hinder the relaxation and release you're trying to achieve in the first place.
Okay, so this isn't just for the hardcore athletes who can, grin and bear it. What about someone like our typical listener, the learner, who's maybe just trying to stay active, dealing with everyday exercise fatigue, or those imbalances you mentioned earlier?
That's such a vital connection to make. Sports massage isn't some exclusive club treatment reserved only for professionals. The benefits really do extend to anyone who engages in regular physical activity.
Right.
Think about it. If you're consistently pushing your limits, even just in your everyday workouts, your muscles can definitely develop fatigue and imbalances over time.
So it's kind of regular maintenance for your body's engine.
Precisely. And you can even think of it as a form of recovery training itself, just as important as getting enough sleep for allowing your body to repair and adapt properly.
Recovery is training. That's a really interesting way to frame it. It definitely shifts how you think about rest days.
Yeah, and consider how professional athletes view it internationally. Muscle recovery isn't just an afterthought for them. It's a core, integral part of their training programs. You could think of it like a factory worker needing proper rest breaks to maintain optimal output. Your muscles are your engine for movement, right?
Totally.
And we often forget just how important muscle health is overall. Muscle tissue is actually the largest organ system in the body, and it plays a role in way more than just movement.
Really? Like what?
Well, it has what we call endocrine functions, meaning muscles release hormones that affect other parts of your body. They also contribute to things like blood pressure regulation. It's all deeply interconnected with our overall health.
Wow.
And, as we think about an aging society, maintaining muscle health to combat that age-related muscle loss, sarcopenia, that becomes even more critical.
So whether you're chasing a personal best in a race or just trying to stay healthy and mobile as you get older, taking care of your muscles is absolutely key.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's imagine you, the listener, you're walking into a sports massage studio for the very first time, just like I did at Muscle Savior. What are some of the practical things you can expect?
That's a great way to frame it, sort of simulating that first-time experience. Okay, so practicalities. Price range can vary, obviously, but generally, sports massage might be a bit higher than, say, a basic relaxation massage.
Yeah.
Though potentially lower than something like aromatherapy with really premium oils. You could think maybe in the range of 4,000 to 5,000 new Taiwan dollars per session, just as an example.
Okay, so it's an investment in your physical well-being, but maybe not totally astronomical. What about the time commitment for a session?
Session durations often start around an hour. That might focus on a specific area, like your back and legs. A longer session, maybe 1.5 hours, could cover both the front and back of the body.
Right.
And for really specific issues or more comprehensive work, sessions can definitely be longer.
So for that first time, should you expect to be on the table for hours and hours?
Not necessarily, no. Often the first session focuses more on overall relaxation and assessment, rather than diving straight into really intense trigger point work right off the bat. It's usually about easing you into the process.
Got it. So you walk in, you say you're interested in a sports massage. What happens next? I definitely remember filling out some forms.
Yes, the intake process. That's a crucial first step. You'll almost certainly be asked to complete a questionnaire. This serves several really important purposes, starting with the safety form.
Safety first.
Exactly. This will cover things like any medications you're currently taking, past injuries or surgeries you had, any current medical treatments, and it's especially important for women to disclose if they are pregnant or perhaps trying to conceive. That's critical info.
Absolutely vital information for the therapist to have. It's all about making sure the massage is safe and effective for you. What else is typically on this initial questionnaire?
Well, beyond the safety stuff, the questionnaire will likely dig into your lifestyle a bit. This usually includes your exercise habits, like how often you work out, what types of activities you do. This is really important for the therapist so they can tailor the massage to the specific demands you place on your body.
Makes sense.
There will probably also be questions about your personal and family medical history and maybe your recent physical and mental state. Things like current stress levels, sleep quality, even digestion can all impact muscle attention.
Wow, it's pretty comprehensive then. It's not just about where does it hurt today.
Exactly. It's really about understanding the bigger picture of what's going on with your body. Another key part of the intake is often pain mapping. You might be given anatomical diagrams, usually male and female versions, to pinpoint the areas where you're currently experiencing discomfort.
Oh yeah, I remember those diagrams. I could actually circle the spots where I was feeling that post-race tightness in my legs and back.
And this helps differentiate between what we call static pain, the discomfort you're aware of when you walk in, and maybe dynamic pain or other areas of tension the therapist might discover during the massage itself through touch. Following the questionnaire and the pain mapping, the therapist will usually move on to an initial physical assessment. This involves palpation, basically using their hands to feel for muscle tension, tightness, and those knots we sometimes call trigger points.
And those trigger points, they aren't always right where you actually feel the pain, are they?
Yeah.
I learned about referred pain, like how tightness in my upper back or even my glutes could actually be contributing to my lower back pain.
That's a crucial concept to understand. Muscles are all interconnected in chains and fascia, and tension in one area can absolutely manifest as pain somewhere else entirely. A skilled therapist's touch helps them identify these connections.
Okay, so you filled out the forms. The therapist has a good sense of your history and where you're feeling things. What happens when it's time for the actual massage session itself?
Right. You'll typically be shown to a private room to change into appropriate attire. Depending on the techniques the therapist plans to use, this might involve removing some clothing, but you'll always be appropriately draped with towels or sheets for privacy and warmth.
All right, change into some comfy athletic shorts. Then you get onto the massage table. I remember lying face down first, with a towel draped over my back and legs.
Yes, and the therapist will usually make initial contact, often just a gentle touch through the towel first. This helps them assess your overall muscle tone and identify any areas of obvious tightness even before they apply oil or start any deeper work.
Like you mentioned, they noted your right leg felt tighter initially.
Exactly. That initial touch gives the therapist a baseline feel. And then, yes, often comes the oil. Although, as you learned, oil isn't always used. That's correct. Oil is optional. It often depends on the specific techniques being used and whether it's, say, a pre-sport, during sport, or post-sport massage. During sport massage, for instance, might be done right through clothing without any oil, just to quickly address cramping or sudden fatigue.
Makes sense. But for a post-activity recovery massage like the one I had, oil is often used to help with those smooth, gliding movements. And then the sensations begin.
Ha.
I have to admit, there were definitely moments of discomfort, but like we talked about, it was manageable. And I made sure to constantly communicate with the therapist about the pressure level. I specifically remember feeling a lot of tightness on the outer side of my left calf.
And that feedback is so vital. The therapist uses that information constantly to adjust their pressure and techniques. That tightness you felt on the outer left calf.
Yeah, that could absolutely be linked to your running form or maybe the specific demands of that Ultra Ironman course. As the massage progresses, the therapist will likely encounter what we call muscle adhesions, sometimes referred to as yan. You can think of muscle adhesions like little knots or spots where the muscle fibers have become a bit stuck together.
Muscle adhesions. Okay,
Yeah.
How exactly do those things form? Is it just from overuse?
It often comes down to the repair process after exercise. During intense activity, your muscles experience tiny tears, micro tears. That's normal. The body's natural inflammatory response kicks in to repair this damage.
However, if there isn't adequate cool down and stretching immediately after exercise, these repair processes can sometimes lead to the formation of adhesions, where muscle fibers and the surrounding connective tissue, the fascia, kind of stick together instead of gliding smoothly.
So it's like the body's trying to patch things up, but sometimes it gets a little overzealous with the biological glue.
That's a pretty good analogy, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And it really highlights the importance of that immediate post-exercise care, doing proper stretching and maybe some active recovery, even if you plan on getting a sports massage later on.
Exactly. Prevention and immediate care play a really significant role. But even if adhesions have formed, sports massage techniques are designed specifically to help break them down and restore that normal tissue mobility.
Right.
And remember, the benefits aren't just for athletes dealing with exercise-induced issues. People with sedentary jobs can also experience significant muscle fatigue and tension just from prolonged postures.
Oh, yeah. Like those of us who spend hours hunched over a computer keyboard. My neck and shoulders definitely feel that.
Precisely. Massage can almost act as a form of passive exercise in those cases, helping to aid circulation. The muscles in your calves, for instance, are sometimes called the second heart because their contraction helps pump blood back up towards the heart. Prolonged sitting really restricts this natural pump.
The second heart. I like that.
Yeah. And we're seeing increasingly common issues like neck and shoulder tension, largely due to prolonged phone usage and that constant head-down posture. It puts a real strain on those muscles.
Tell me about it.
So for someone with chronic neck tension from computer use, a sports massage might focus specifically on releasing the upper trapezius muscles, the levator scapulae, these muscles that get really tight, aiming to improve posture and reduce that pain.
So it's really not just about recovering from a hard run. It's also about addressing the muscle strains of modern life itself. I definitely noticed the therapist used a whole variety of techniques during my massage. It wasn't just their hands doing the work.
Yeah, a skilled sports massage therapist will have a whole toolbox of techniques. This might include using their knuckles, what you called aya, for broader pressure across a muscle belly, using their forearms for longer, gliding strokes, using their elbows for deeper, more focused work, especially near bone attachments where muscles originate or insert the elbow, can get into very specific deep spots. And of course, the more traditional use of thumbs and the heel of the palm.
Right.
A lot of it is about skill and using body weight for leverage, not just relying on brute arm strength.
I definitely felt that there were times when the pressure was incredibly deep, but it didn't feel like the therapist was just, jamming their elbow in with all their might. It felt controlled.
That's the sign of good technique.
I remember my left leg feeling noticeably looser than my right as the session went on. And then there were those specific spots, those pain points, like the gluteus medius.
Yes, the tunjin.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a key muscle in your hip, isn't it? Vital for stabilizing you when running or cycling.
Absolutely crucial stabilizer, yes.
And the tensor fascia latae, the TFL.
The sinew mozangi on the outside of the thigh connects to the IT band.
Often tight in runners, I hear. And the piriformis, deep in the glute area. Wow, those spots were definitely tender.
Yeah. Those are very common areas of tightness and trigger points, especially for individuals who are active in running, cycling, or even just walking a lot. The therapist likely focused on specific techniques to release tension in those particular muscles.
Seemed like it.
And they might have also tested your range of motion during the massage, like that leg hooking movement you mentioned, to assess how flexibility was improving in real time.
Yeah, they did that a couple of times.
The fact that your left leg improved so significantly suggests the techniques were really effective in releasing that built-up tension there.
It was pretty remarkable, the difference before and after. Now, then there was the issue of ticklishness. I could be quite ticklish in certain spots, and I was a little worried about that beforehand.
That's a really common concern. Therapists have various strategies for dealing with ticklishness. Sometimes just increasing the surface area of contact helps making the touch feel more like firm pressure rather than light feathery strokes, which are often what trigger ticklishness. Or they might use distraction techniques. And interestingly, sometimes significant pain or deep pressure in a tight muscle can actually override the ticklish sensation. Your brain prioritizes the stronger sensation.
That makes sense. When something is really tight and tender, you're definitely more focused on the discomfort than on being ticklish.
Yeah.
So thinking about that therapist and the whole experience, what qualities do you think really make for a good sports massage therapist?
Good question. Well, first off, I think a genuine passion for the work is key. They should also have a really strong functional knowledge of anatomy, not just memorizing muscles, but understanding the musculoskeletal system, the circulatory system, how it all works together.
Right, the connection.
Exactly. Ideally, they'll also have some understanding of different sports and the types of muscle issues that commonly arise from those specific activities. And then, of course, skill in using their body weight effectively, employing a variety of hand, forearm, arm and elbow techniques. Understanding leverage over sheer force is really essential.
It really sounds like there's both a real art and a solid science to it. What are some of the biggest challenges for new sports massage therapists when they're just starting out and learning the ropes?
Well, really understanding muscle attachments, the specific origins and insertions of muscles on the bones can be challenging initially. It requires really careful palpation skills and a solid knowledge of muscle actions to feel exactly where you are.
I can imagine.
And learning to use their body weight effectively, generating pressure from their core and legs rather than just muscling through with their arms and shoulders, that's another common hurdle. It saves their own body and makes the pressure much more effective.
Kind of like that rock climbing analogy you mentioned.
Yeah.
Using minimal effort in just the right places for maximum effect.
Exactly like that. It's about efficiency, control, and technique, not just raw strength.
I definitely noticed the therapist continued working methodically on the other side of my body, addressing that lingering soreness from the race and identifying specific muscles involved. I remember them explaining how they were using hip movement, their own hip movement, to help stretch my gluteus medius by leveraging the rotation of my femur. It was quite technical.
Yes, using leverage and passive movement like that is a common and very effective technique.
And then that little sound, sometimes it sounded like a faint whoosh that sometimes accompanied a release.
Yeah. That sound often indicates a palpable release of tension in the muscle tissue or fascia. It's a good sign.
It felt like a good sign. And the final assessment of range of motion, just seeing how much further my leg could bend back comfortably, that really demonstrated the immediate benefits.
Absolutely. And it's also important for listeners to remember, especially for chronic issues like persistent back pain, that massage is often just one component of overall care. Things like core strength training, posture correction, they usually need to go hand in hand with manual therapy for long-term results.
Right, it's part of a bigger picture. So for the learner, taking all this information in, what are the absolute key takeaways about sports massage that they should walk away with?
Okay, key points. Firstly, it's distinct from general relaxation massage and even standard deep tissue massage. It has a specific focus on muscles related to movement and physical activity.
Got it. Focus on function.
Exactly. Second, understanding that muscle tension and imbalance isn't just for elite athletes. It can affect anyone who moves their body regularly, or even those who are mostly sedentary. It's relevant to almost everyone. And third, remember, it's not solely about pain relief, although that's often a result. It's fundamentally about improving muscle function, promoting faster and better recovery, and addressing underlying imbalances that could lead to injury or limit performance.
So it's something worth considering whether you're hitting the gym hard multiple times a week or maybe just spending long hours stuck at a desk.
Precisely. Thinking about proactive muscle care, whatever form that takes, can contribute significantly to your overall well-being and your ability to perform optimally, whatever performance means in your life, whether it's running a race or just playing with your kids without aches.
Okay, so here's a final provocative thought then for you, the listener, to mull over. Start paying closer attention to your own body. Where do you typically feel tension or stiffness? How do your muscles actually respond to activity or maybe even inactivity?
Good question to ask yourself.
Yeah, and consider how proactive muscle care, which could include exploring sports massage, might contribute to your overall well-being and your performance in any kind of movement you do. Really ask yourself, what is your body trying to tell you through that persistent stiffness or that recurring ache? This deep dive, I really hope, has given you a solid foundation to maybe explore those questions further, and perhaps consider incorporating sports massage or other self-care practices into your routine for better long-term muscle health.